Gobe joints in Accra, coming to a central location, Accra Mall Park. Yeah? Tetekwashi Interchange. It's a big park there. Last year it was lit. This year, is there anything like later or latest? Please call 053-1100927 053-22000927. If you're a Gobe seller, or you're a Gobe vendor, or you have Gobe related products, we're inviting you to join us, be part of the Gobe Festival, 16th of March 2024, 10 a.m. sharp. It's Gobe with kinky, it's Gobe with sausage, it's Gobe with egg, it's Gobe with fish. People like to mix wache with Gobe and a bit of rice. You know that rice that the Gobe sellers have, it's actually not nice on its own. But whenever you combine it with the Gobe, my God, the carbon combinations that, meet each other. Chemistry takes place in your stomach, you feel so delighted in your soul. That's what we're talking about. 053-1100927 and 053-22000927. You can ask Davi for more Gary, you can ask for Pepe, you can ask for Zumi. All depends on you. Let's move away from that and talk about something very important regarding the pharmaceutical industry. Got in studio pharmacist Nelson Ansa Owusu. He's also a lawyer, a consultant, researcher, and health policy analyst. Faisal Bella Jibrila is also a lawyer. He's a pharmacist, legal consultant of the Pharmaceutical Importers and Wholesalers Association of Ghana. Fifi Yamwa Jr. is executive secretary of the Pharmaceutical Importers and Wholesalers Association of Ghana member, a very important member. And pharmacist Audrey Sewa Bunsu, the CEO of the Chamber of Pharmacists. They've joined us in studio here. You do know that gradually there's an intention by officialdom to phase out importation and have a local production of the medicines that your mother, yourself, sometimes your wife, your husband, your grandmother will need for your BP, cholesterol, all those things. Now, they have a big question to ask. That, well, entirely, it is not a wrong thing to have, local manufacturing, a hub of a sort, to have something that, like what we have in India. But are we really ready for it? Do we have the capacity? Do we have the funds for it? Do we have the infrastructure? Do we have a strategy? They're asking questions. So this morning we brought them into studio so we can hear from them as well. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning. How are we doing? Good morning. Happy New Year.
Yes,
Great. How are we doing at the chamber? Is this fine?
Yes, the chamber is very
Everybody's okay?
Everyone is very well.
Great.
Greetings from the chamber.
Absolutely. We're happy to have you here. Now, let's talk about there's an EI that is looking at the restrictions, some almost 30 in the first batch, then now 40-something. Now we are looking at 142. And it's becoming, explain to me, what is going on, madam?
Oh,
yes.
I thought I had my able men.
Ladies first. Yes. I am for gender inclusion.
Wow.
Yes.
So good morning once again to us all, especially to your listeners. And we are grateful for the opportunity to be here this morning. So what is going on, one would ask, within the pharmaceutical industry is that the Pharmaceutical Importers and Wholesalers Association have a petition because within the industry, the pharmaceutical manufacturers and the Ministry of Health feel that there should be a restriction because of the government's agenda to, make Ghana a manufacturing hub. And we are saying that the approach is what we are questioning. And we just want more broader stakeholder engagement with regards to the scope of the medicines and then also the timelines involved.
I see. Council, you guide me. So you don't disagree with the principle that importation can be stopped at some point and for us to have local production. Is that correct?
Not at all.
Okay. Microphone closer to you so that we can...
Not at all.
Okay.
In fact, if you look at our press release, the introduction as well as the concluding part, we have affirmed our support to the government to actually help to boost, local manufacturing.
Right.
So, in principle, we are not against government.
What is the challenge then?
Good. So the challenge basically has to do with the fact that the list that is sought to be restricted has not gone through the requisite regulatory checks to be sure that the industries and the pharmaceutical manufacturers that we have the capacity to be able to deliver and meet the national needs.
Right.
Now, if you restrict some of these medications, and mind you, as our CEO said, and in your introduction, we started this journey from somewhere 49 products.
Right.
Right.
And then, in fact, there was 27 or so.
Yes, there was
then
27,
we came to 49.
and then we
now
came
we're looking
to
at
49.
142.
Now, the Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association, they came up with a list of about 116. Right. They forwarded the list to the ministry for possible restriction. The ministry also forwarded it to the Food and Drugs Authority,
right,
which is our regulator, and not just that, has chalked a lot of success in terms of awards, both in Africa and globally, one of the best in Africa, and the regulator did its due diligence, subjected the list to scientific process, and out of this 116, the regulator said that I am recommending that out of this 116, we only restrict 38 out of it.
But you have questioned the authenticity of the list. You have asked questions about the list.
We have asked questions.
Why are you asking those questions?
Not about the authenticity of the list that FDA brought out. We are questioning the authenticity and the integrity of the 142
that the manufacturers brought.
That this time is coming from the ministry.
Okay, the ministry now has waded into the conversation.
So one would ask, how come the manufacturers, the Pharmaceutical Manufacturers Association, they come out with a list of 116,
right,
and then suddenly, through some magical means, the list has rather ballooned to 142. What went into the decision to balloon the list from even the FDA's list of 38 to 142? And we that is what make all of us are surprised. All of us are surprised. And
Chief, let me ask you, do we have the capacity to be able to produce if we decide that we are stopping importation? So this morning somebody wants losartan, nifedipine, somebody wants something to treat cholesterol, all those things, those BP people, there are plenty. Do we have the capacity?
Good question. The capacity question is because you want to protect the lives of Ghanaians, isn't it? You want to ensure that the Ghanaians who will be the actual consumers and people who will be using these medications have what they require to save their lives.
That's right.
Because medicine is about life saving, period.
Fantastic.
Right. Good. Now, let's start from 2016. 49 products. Can the ministry tell us today that of the 49 that were restricted in 2016, manufacturers have been able to manufacture all of them to the to the volumes that are needed to save all the lives in Ghana
on a daily basis?
On a daily, to the extent that they are being exported out of this country? No. We are industry players. We know it. We've been in this industry for we have decades between us, even some of us as young as we are sitting before you today. And we know that's not the case. We know that to the extent that even the 49, we are talking 2016,
right,
the ministry, after requiring from manufacturers who have not been able to deliver, now falls on importers to supplement what has not been delivered.
The restriction that they put,
yes,
because the local capacity
cannot meet,
is not adequate.
Exactly.
They have to now ask you to bring some to supplement,
to support it.
Okay, so where are we rushing to?
Exactly. Now, we haven't met that requirement. We haven't met that room that was created. Today, we are going to 142. And like Nelson was saying earlier, now, of this 142 that was presented to FDA earlier, FDA said they gave cogent reasons, and they raised this capacity issue time and time again. For almost 90% of the medications, they themselves said, please don't restrict these ones. Capacity has been the main issue. This is FDA.
So the ministry knows this.
Of course.
And why are they moving to then go ahead with the restriction?
You see,
I don't understand.
There are
Maybe
more
you
questions.
Let me understand.
There are more questions than answers, aren't there? You know, and every turn we take with this discussion, more questions arise. More questions arise. And, you know, like you were discussing earlier, the list ballooned to 142.
Right.
When 116 earlier went for FDA, and FDA said reduce it to 32.
Right.
38.
Right.
Right. And yet we are insisting on a 142, despite all of us saying, look, we are thinking about the medicine security of our people in this country. We are thinking about their lives. We are thinking about what they need to. There's no household in Ghana today that is not using medications, and imported medications for that matter, to supplement their medical needs. None. I mean, my mother is there, your mother is there, our children are there, our relatives are there, everybody. Now, are we ready to put that in jeopardy? Are we ready? I mean, let's follow the president's advice. He said we can bring back the economy, but as for lives, we can't bring them.
I agree.
The risk to a single life, begs for interrogation and begs for answers and begs for more questions to be answered, so that all of us can be sure that.
Chief, you step into it for me. Then there's also the question about Sikano Viete. So I want to start local manufacturing, or I want to expand my capacity locally to be able to answer this conundrum that the ministry is putting out there. Are the banks willing and ready? Do we have specialized banks, specialized products that will answer this conundrum?
Thank you for this question. No, we don't have such facilities. So what happens is that even for importers, you have to compete with other sectors for finance. So you walk into any of the banks, commercial banks, and there are no exceptions. So if you can't meet their requirements by way of interest rates, then you apply. So we don't have a dedicated.
Even when you are seeking to save lives.
Yes, we don't have a dedicated.
If you can't meet their requirements, the prerequisites, forget about it.
Forget about it.
Whoa.
And the interests are always the same. So the cement importer, the tile importer, we are all paying the same interest rates. And that is why the association through the chamber have been drumming and making noise that we need a dedicated financial institution to support the pharma sector. Because it is not easy to enter into manufacturing. And that is why FDA is talking about capacity. Most of the manufacturers, both small, large, and medium that we have now, also started as importers. And some are still importing. Anyway. Some even import more than they produce, if you check their product list. So if they are talking about capacity and having the capacity to produce, why aren't they producing what they import? You can do that check. Why are they not producing what they import if they have the capacity?
But the manufacturers insist that they have the capacity.
That is what we are saying.
So why are you doubting them?
And that's why we're also saying that if you have the capacity, why are you not producing what you import?
My brother.
Riddle.
My brother.
I know Council wants to make an intervention. Council, maybe I would ask you that question again.
Yes.
Riddle. So they say they have the capacity.
Yeah.
But then he insists that they are importing. Big man here too, I said they are importing.
I will.
So you want to read?
Yes, I'll refer you to the 23rd September letter of the FDA.
Right.
Now, this is their paragraph 2. It says the FDA has reviewed the proposed list of products and provided the necessary comments needed to help in decision making. The FDA's comments are based on requirements for registration of such products as well as the capacity of local pharmaceutical manufacturers in the manufacturing of such formulations. So the FDA itself concedes. The FDA is a regulator.
Right.
The FDA licenses the manufacturers to produce. So if the FDA is saying that there are issues of capacity, who are we to doubt it?
You cannot sell any medicine without the tacit approval of the FDA.
Exactly.
You need to go and give them the samples, they need to check it, agree, and all of that.
Exactly.
And they are questioning the capacity of the manufacturers.
They are saying that we as a country we do not have the requisite capacity to be able to meet the potential demands out there on the market. Now, and there are quite a number of products that FDA.
Maybe you run us through a few.
I will just run you through.
People get up to speed.
I will just run you through quite a number of them. For example, suspension clindamycin. It is one of the molecules that is sought to be restricted. Listen to what the FDA says. Products cannot be restricted until the local pharmaceutical industry is able to increase capacity to assure that products locally manufactured are same as that of the innovator product. The implication of this is that currently the pharmaceutical manufacturers do not have the capacity.
They're not meeting the standard.
They do not have the capacity to be able to meet the potential demand by restricting these drugs. Now,
let's talk about the BP one, because a lot more people. So that people can BP, cholesterol, those ones.
Yes, I'll refer you.
What did the FDA say?
That is number 51, losartan potassium. Right. 50 and 100 milligrams.
Sometimes you go to the pharmacy, you want to buy for your mother, and they say, "Oh, I short it."
Yes.
Is that why?
Yes, and some of these drugs are antihypertensives.
Right.
And currently the about 7 to 10% of the populace, right? Antihypertensive needs are provided for by local industries.
Right.
About 90% of it is imported.
Because I've had occasion to go to the pharmacy to look for which one is that? Nefficard 30, losartan 50. Yes. 2.
Yes.
I buy them, and then one other I've forgotten.
Yes.
And I've had occasion to go to the pharmacy sometimes. You have the money, you want to buy, you say, "Oh, I short it."
Good. And you see,
and then you ask, you say, "Oh, then we have the alternative." I say,
good.
Everyone is in tow. So say,
and you see, let me just
read what the FDA said.
This is losartan potassium. Although it's class 3, out of the 65 products approved by the FDA, only 5 are locally manufactured. Therefore, it is not recommended to be restricted for local manufacture only.
This is the FDA.
This is the FDA. Typically, if you have a situation where, if as a government or as a ministry, if you want to really improve upon the capacity of local manufacture, what you do is that you lower the barriers of entry. So that a lot more pharmaceutical companies would have the incentive to go into production. So that, for example, if you have one molecule being produced by about 100 manufacturers, naturally, competition is fierce.
Right.
The price will come down.
Right.
Who does it benefit? The ultimate consumer.
Right.
There are instances like what you just said. Some of those medications run out of stock. Once they run out of stock, the few people who have it, they form a cartel. They decide the price.
Yes. Right.
And once they decide the price, whether you can afford it or not, it's not their business. If you cannot afford it, it means that you are going to die. And as responsible organization, we are enjoined by law to, help to protect lives. This particular EI that the minister is acting on is basically regulated by law. And the purpose of the law, that's the Public Health Act. If you read the purpose of the law, it is to protect lives.
Right.
So if you are coming out with a policy and industry players, stakeholders are saying to you that this move will unduly cripple the national health insurance system. It will destabilize the medicine security of the country. It will put lives of people at risk. It will cause price hikes of medications. Then as a ministry, you ought to listen to your people.
Madam CEO, have you sought audience with the minister on these matters?
Yes.
And what did the minister say? I want to understand. Yes. Okay.
So the association through a chamber of pharmacy, we wrote a joint petition.
Okay.
To the ministry in July, and so we copied all stakeholders that matter, including the local manufacturers. Now we waited for about 3 or 4 months. We didn't get any feedback, and I was tasked to issue a reminder to SAME, which I did. As we speak, we have not received any official response from the ministry. We haven't received any official response.
The ministry has not responded to you.
No.
After how many years?
After 7 months.
7 months?
Yes.
On
even
such
with
an important
even
matter.
with a reminder.
You added a reminder.
Yes.
Within the 7 months.
Yes.
And the ministry have not found it necessary.
No official.
But then they keep insisting on the 142.
Yes.
That they have to ban 142 medicines from being imported.
Yes.
Madam, you are the mother here. You have Abada issues and compassion. What are we looking at if the ministry doesn't listen to you? Everybody shuts their ear and goes ahead with this. What are we looking at?
I think the situation becomes dire, and it's quite alarming because we always define medication. The difference between a medication and poison is the dose, and so then this how critical medications are, and the fact that if we allow the restrictions leading to shortages, because as my colleagues have said, that over 70% is being catered for by the importers. And so we clearly don't have the capacity yet.
Right.
And we seek capacity. So then we are saying that, please. I think that sometimes I ask myself that, are we in isolation because we have siblings, we have family, and we are expecting that all these people are going to be affected one way or the other.
Right.
And we have to look at that beyond ourselves.
That's right.
In this case. And that is why we are really petitioning. We actually have to go out there and make all this news.
What will be the next line of action if all of what you're doing, media engagements, press release, petition, you're not being listened to? What else can you do?
Well, we believe firmly that the people will be listened to.
The people will be listened to.
Will be listened to. That is why we are here. That is why we are everywhere, trying to let the people understand what this is about and what implications it will have on them. Their national insurance health system, their national health insurance system is at risk. And then, I mean, there are many legitimate avenues to resist what is going on in the proposed 142, and we'll continue to pursue them. We'll continue to pursue them, including if coming back here, including continuing petitions to the ministry, including seeing everybody that determines what the ministry also does, including working with the FDA and asking them to assert their authority as far as their recommendations are concerned, including ensuring that the message continues until the last person in Ghana who hasn't heard the risk that this will pose gets to him.
30 seconds each for all of you. And I would like to have a copy of the petition. I'd love to have a copy of it with a reminder so that maybe I can ask a question or two. Yes, because we can't play with people's lives like that. No, we can't. But 30 seconds for you in closing. What do you say to us? What do you leave us with?
So, in conclusion, I would say that I believe something good will come out of this fight. It is not our fight alone. It is the fight for all. If we want to sustain lives, we want to protect lives, there's somebody in authority ought to listen to our cry. Thank you.
Thank you. Council.
Yes. So what I'll leave us with is basically to appeal to the ministry to listen to the good people of Ghana and to listen to what the major stakeholders are saying. and basically to say that we all are at risk. You never know when you could be in need of an emergency medication and you go everywhere looking for it and it is out of stock. It could happen to me, it could happen to you.
Yeah.
So let's give it deep consideration and give them.
And some of these medicines include those who are on hospital beds.
Some of them are emergency medication that are used in theaters.
So you are
where
rushed.
there is only one.
You are
only one.
You are
man.
rushed to the theater.
Yes.
The doctor is operating.
Yes.
And then you need the medicine.
Exactly.
But there's a ban on the importation.
Yes.
And we don't have the capacity to produce.
Exactly.
So you are between
Currently,
life
there's
and
only
death.
one manufacturer that manufactures emergency drug isoflurane. Only one. So for whatever reason, if they decide that they will not supply, for whatever reason, if they decide that government owes me on the NHIS, and so for that matter,
or
I won't supply.
ECG takes the light.
Or ECG takes the light.
Or
You
Ghana
and
Water
I,
closes the
exactly.
pipe.
You and I, the ordinary person, is going to suffer for the consequences. So we are appealing to them. We know they will listen. We believe that they will listen.
Madam.
I want to say thank you to, the media houses for taking on this petition. We are very excited about how far it's going. And we want the ordinary Ghanaian to know that we really need everybody's support here to ensure that we are ahead.
Yes, boss. Final word from you.
Well, we are saying this is about Ghanaian lives. We know the manufacturers are doing their best. We know the ministry is also doing its best. We need the ultimate aim is to try and make Ghana medicine self-sufficient. We understand that. We are just saying, I am a lawyer.
Right.
And the process of doing something is as important as what you want to do. You know, the way you approach it, the way this matter is being approached. We are creating a gap, hoping that manufacturing will fill it. We are not boosting manufacturing so that it reaches a place where there is no gap before then we restrict. But we are saying create the gap. That is our problem.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful that you could all join us. Our friends from the chamber who have joined us this morning. Quickly, pharmacist Nelson Ansa Owusu. He's also a lawyer, consultant, researcher, and health policy analyst. Faisal Bella Jibrila Esquire is a pharmacist, legal consultant of the Pharmaceutical Importers and Wholesalers Association of Ghana. Fifi Yamoa Jr. is an executive secretary, is the executive secretary, Pharmaceutical Importers and Wholesalers Association of Ghana. And last but definitely not least, pharmacist Audrey Sewa Bonsu, CEO of the Chamber of Pharmacists. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I pray that somebody has heard you and somebody would listen so that people will not die. I always insist that there are 5 areas of our national life that we cannot politicize: education, security, agric, economy, most importantly, health. The moment we jeopardize and play with them, but if you have a chartered accountant as your minister,
Absolutely.